case anybody shows up. There we go. Hey, 420. Yes, we can't sleep. Let me turn the volume down on this. Hopefully y'all can hear me halfway, but this is probably just going to be mostly, if you want to watch us do art at 2 in the frickin' morning, ask us some questions. Our air conditioner's on right now, so it's probably going to be a little bit noisy until it kicks off. No, okay, well, hey, X. Hi, Blue Rose. We can't sleep. And this has been going on like 2 weeks now. And it's Julie, and she's pushing at us, so. Yeah, thanks, 420. We're at a low ebb. It's like, it's one of these where you know you're not going to sleep. You know you've done everything that you can to wind yourself down, but you're not going to get any sleep because the images won't leave your head. So yeah, anyway, can't sleep. Thought maybe you guys might want to watch us try to draw what is most likely going to be trauma art for all we know. This page is dirty, therefore it will not do. You feel free to ask questions and whatnot. We got the tablet in front of us, as long as you guys can hear us. Yeah, we don't do art much. For reasons, because what we produce most of the time isn't pretty or I don't know. Anyway, we're just gonna start drawing. No idea how this is gonna go. Anything could come out. I know what's in the head, but I'm not sure we can translate it onto paper. And we generally suck at drawing, so don't expect frickin' Picasso here or anything. 10 a.m. now, around 4 a.m. Took 6 hours for the painkiller to kick in. Yeah, at the moment I envy you. Kind of wish I had some nice coating to go along with it. You know what? We need to be using a pencil. Hold that thought. That is not a pencil. I should be able to find one in here someplace. This will do if there's actually any lead in it. Yeah, there is. Okay, good. Should have led with the pencil. Don't worry, we'll use the paper sooner or later for something. This is the things that write box. That's how we organize our junk. Yeah. Excuse us. Hello, Esme. No, it's okay, Tay. Don't worry about it. Going in the wrong direction. Let's see here. 420, got your 4th therapy session today. Doing good. Yes and no, Esme. It is what it is. You guys probably can't even see that, can you? Hang on. I'm gonna shift your perspective. I think we're too high up. You guys can't see diddly squat. There we go. Now at least you can kind of see what we're doing. I'm not sure if I can take that down anymore. I have no idea what I'm doing. Not even really sure who I am at the moment or who we are. I think it's Chris. Probably is. Maybe. Who knows? Okay, there we go. I think I've settled. Yeah, you should at least be able to see somewhat now. And trigger warning, I have no idea how this picture is going to turn out. There's an image in our heads, and we thought we had gotten it out. Last week when we broke down in our wife's arms and cried. I think we'll probably have another good cry before this particular bout is through. It's just she keeps pressing on us and pressing on us. And appearing at the hallucinations always start at the edges of the visions when she's there. And it's like, Julie, just please stop pushing. But she's not saying anything, so we think she's mute. I don't know if she communicates with images or what exactly. But what she communicates is real strong. Real strong. And we're so tired, and we can't get the damn scene out of our heads. And it's like we are gonna be up all night anyway. And again, we suck at drawing, so don't expect anything here. And we'll check the chat when we can. So yeah, unfortunately, just don't expect much out of us right now. I'm sorry, we debated on whether or not to even stream, but we knew that we were going to be up. And one of the things that we're always ragging on about is we're not alone, and how, anyway. So here we are, kind of eating our own words or taking our own advice, however you want to look at it. So yes, maybe, I don't know. It's like it's like we did the little stories, but it's just like we have no energy because of this. Because she's pushing. And this is where a therapist comes in, and we don't have a therapist anymore. So, yeah. Could never get that right. I think they poke you out more. Believe it or not, I'm not drawing breasts because we didn't have any. Trying to get an elbow here, but I'm too low. That's a little better. These are just vague forms at the moment. So like I said, the image is, it's up there, but it's getting it out. That's the tough part. Again, possible trigger warning, trigger warning. Let's check the chat. While we pause. Let's see. Hugo is demanding I draw him a link, so I need to disappear, but hope you feel better soon. Thank you, Tay. Sucks because sleep is important. What is sleep? It's nice to hear. I'm fine. 20 sessions, and they consider 20 sessions long term. Man, 20 sessions would only begin to scratch the surface. Jesus, 20 sessions. We had a year with one therapist, 2.5, almost 3 with the second one. Anyway, wasn't enough time. It's not enough time. I'd put on background music or something, but again, it's 2 a.m. and my wife works tomorrow, so... Otherwise, we'd be coming to you live from the safe space. Except the lighting in there sucks, and... yeah. I really wish that we could tell you what we're drawing here, but it's pretty much self-obvious. And what we can't convey is just the horror of it, the feeling of vulnerability and literal and figurative nakedness. And that feeling of somebody, being at your back. But this is the kind of imagery that you suffer with when you've got DID and intense trauma. You cannot get this shit out of the head. I mean, it's specific to DID, obviously, PTSD and CPTSD, but thanks to the way that DID bonds the trauma, this shit is stuck. It's stuck forever. And you can't get rid of the images. So the only thing you can really do is learn to live with them. Try to get them out the best way that you possibly can, like what we're doing right now, which is why we draw so rarely. Generally, the stuff we draw is not happy. Some of it is. Of course, it also depends upon who's drawing. It's like, who the hell is the artist of the group? I don't know. We don't know. What is art, anyway? I mean, is this therapy art? It's just, see, this is it. It's just we have no therapist to guide us right now. We're actually in the process of switching back to our original clinic, because the one where we've been at for the past couple years is just absolutely worthless. They didn't have any resources there that really helped us other than just the meds. And, I mean, admittedly, DID is, a specialty kind of condition. It's not that common, no matter what some other people would have you believe. I'm sorry, but 1% is still, 1%, 2%. And, okay, well, yeah, we're not going to get off on that tech. Yes, thank you, Daddy. And I'm seeing chat messages pop up, so I should probably check and see where you guys are at. Okay, let's see here. Probably move this a little closer so I'm not squinting. Oh, let's see here. New therapist too, seeing her tomorrow for the 5th time. Still getting to know her. Trust isn't built. Yes, of course, but we're hopeful she seems to know what to do. That's good to hear, Blue Rose. Sometimes say they can extend by 10. That's still only 30. Yeah. No kidding. We're right there with you. Hello there, Majesty. Didn't see you come in, but then we're kind of on the artwork. hello to the small group of early, well, yeah, it's different time people. It's like Australia. Always wanted to visit Australia. We, when we worked at Grand Canyon National Park lodges in the early 90s, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but that's one of the favorite destinations here in the U.S. for the Australians, and these dudes were just hardcore. Okay. Hiking the canyon is no small feat, and these guys would come in, group of them, dozen of them, and they would close the bars out. They would be up drinking until 3 in the morning or so. I think they closed the bars up there at 3, and I mean, and then they would get up at like 5:30, 6 a.m., crack of dawn, and go hiking just as cheerful as though nothing had ever happened. My, God, I can't believe I'm telling this story. My sister actually picked up a couple of them, and boy, was she jailbait, seriously underage at that point. I don't think she was maybe more than, shit. Oh, wait, maybe she was a little bit older. Misremembering? Okay, shit's starting to get fuzzy here. Anyway, she was there with us, and she brought a couple of these guys home who were obviously much older than they were, and they were drinking. And I sat down and I drank with them, basically, in order to protect my sister's honor and what little she had. Anyway, that's another story. Although I strongly suspect now, knowing what we do, that more than likely she has DID as well, and is most likely a system, and is running around out there undiagnosed, carrying on the generational trauma. God help her. Jesus. Um, but yeah, anyway, the Australians, they were, the end of the night, they were like, because here's one thing, I know this sounds like boasting, but it's absolutely true. This has been verified by numerous people on several occasions. We don't like to drink because one of the reasons is that we can hold a lot of liquor. It takes a lot of booze to get us sloshed. And a frightening amount. Anyway, that was one of those nights when we were very rarely, if ever, got drunk. We figured, what the hell, when are you ever going to have the chance to drink with Australians? But by the end of the night, they were like, you can call us mate. It's like, you've earned that right. It's like, so I've been told by Australians that it's okay to call them mate. I don't know if they were just yanking my chain or what, but that night's a bit of a blur, but I do know that my sister did not end up in bed with one of them, so there was that. Insert unkind comment here, but it's really funny because my sister and I did not get along at all, and now I have a good idea why. But yeah, not fun times, not fun times at all. She definitely had mental issues. I have fond memories of her chasing one of the few friends that I have and us around the house after the divorce with a butcher knife, doing her best to stab us in the back. These fingers are way too goddamn low. They should be coming just over the tops. Like this, I believe. Yep, that's it there. I knew we'd get it if we futzed with it long enough. But yeah, knowing now what we do, because he was abusing her too. And that's all we'll say about it. Yeah, we've got some real clear memories. Flashbacks, call them what you want to. So, yeah, fun stuff. And that's the trouble with this, is that you don't know when it's going to come out. You don't know if it's going to come out. You don't know when they're going to come out. You don't know what they're going to show you. They don't know. You don't know if they're going to talk to you at all. How much of it they're going to pass on and in what way. mean, Julie is just sending strong images. We always know that Data and I always know that there's another one coming, that somebody else is coming forward, because we start to get the images and the hallucinations, and it's absolutely brutal. And this time has been really bad. Just really bad. We thought that we'd worked through the worst of it the other night, and it's still there. And she's not saying anything, like I said earlier. It's we're not sure if she's mute or not, but she is aware of us, at least. So it's not like with John, where there is no communication. But it's kind of like, makes you wish that there was a little less sometimes. And yeah, I know we're erasing a lot. Sometimes it seems like our art is more erasing than anything else. He said we don't do this much. Not since, well, a very, very long time. I mean, we do trauma art. I mean, we've got a whole sheaf of stuff that we could show you, but it's, a lot of it is just, it's plain old dark. It's just trauma is trauma is trauma. And you guys know that we've been through some shit. And but we don't feel the need to beat you over the head with it. It's just it's like, you know, tonight the discussion in our head ran something like this. It's like, why are we doing this? You know, it always starts with that. It's like we get the urge, and then it's like, okay, and then we actually start to get the stuff set up to stream, and then it's like, okay, why are we doing this? You know, what possible purpose can this serve? But these are the times when we feel most vulnerable, and we tend to ride this stuff out ourselves. And it's like, if we're supposed to show you how this is really like, how it's like for us, then we have to be more open to, you know, this kind of thing. I don't know if I'm making any damn sense at all. Well, make up your mind, Julie. Do you want a black face, or do you, I mean, is it a shadowy face, not POC face? Okay, now you want the reverse. I don't know, it's just the image. I mean, it's maddening because I can see everything. All I have to do is just let the attention slip, and I'm there. We're there again. Forever. We've had more sleep paralysis, of course. That's another one of the symptoms. Our wife had to shake us awake the other night. Again. We get so used to it that it's like, we have to ask her in the morning, were you shaking us awake again? Did we have another sleep paralysis? Yeah, you did, huh? But this one comes from that weekend, and our longtime viewers, you know which weekend we're talking about. It had never occurred to us that John would have a female counterpart. I mean, it makes sense, you know, we've got John and Jack, good boy, bad boy, and then we've got, you know, Mimi, bad girl. It never occurred to us that there would be a female counterpart to John, good girl, but it makes sense, doesn't it? And that's just one of the maddening things about this, is that it's just, you never know what it's going to be. You never know how it's going to work out. And every time that you think you've got DID figured out, something else, another symptom or a new flashback or a new trauma memory, or just you peel back another layer of it, and all of a sudden you're just flailing again. And it makes it very difficult to get any kind of a center underneath you. Systems like stability, and stability is necessary. But unfortunately, your symptoms don't realize that, because the body keeps the score. Thank you very much, Mr. Vanderklok, for letting us know that. Half the time we don't even know what the hell we're drawing until we get done, and then we sit back and we realize this is not right. But the curtains are. The curtains are. Let's check the chat. No, show. Sorry, let me backtrack. Okay, let's see here. X is saying that's a correct stereotype about Australians. Yeah, they were the nicest frickin' guys I ever met. You know, they were cool. Never had a problem with the. Oh, I can't do it without the glass. They're so effed. Sending good thoughts for you. Caregivers had to go training to be our therapist for training. She gets attached so easy, so it wasn't fair on her. Hello, Naomi. Good to see you. Let's see. Blu-rays. Okay. Well, my poetry is like 90% of my poetry is dark. Yeah, we've got some writings that we think it was Percival. This was back before we were diagnosed. I mean, like back when we met our first wife type situation. That it's, you know, you don't like pay attention to it at the time, but later on it's pretty obvious what you were writing about. Pretty obvious. Once you have that layer peeled back from your eyes. Yeah, this one was. Sorry, we're trigger warning. We're going to get a little dark here for a second. The worst part about this particular experience was, you know, it's funny. You don't think there could be anything worse than being forcibly and brutally assaulted? But there is. There's something worse. And that's when your innocence is taken in a loving, caring way. And that's, I'm sorry, but that's the only way that I can put it. And that's what this was. That's what this was. And this is what she's showing us. I mean, what we can't show you is the dude. We don't even know who it was. Other than it was a dude behind us. And that's when the touching begins. And yeah, that's when we go, I'm not going to get sucked into this flashback. But she keeps showing us this scene over and over and over and over and over, and it's there every fucking time that we close our eyes, every goddamn time that I allow our attention to drift. And every time that I try to go to sleep, it's there. It's like a ravenous fucking animal. And I get it. Okay, I get that there's Mimi is not trapped for some reason. We have theories about that, but it's not confirmed, and she's not really saying. But it's like and Jack is what Jack is, but at least two of us are trapped here. And yet we're not sure because Julie, she's aware of us, but is she still there? I mean, it feels like it gets so damn confusing and there's just no real answers. There's no real answers. Other than this person here is scared shitless and feeling naked and vulnerable. And what came next was just horrific. And it wasn't horrific because it was brutal or because it was violent. It was horrific because it wasn't those things. And in its way, that's actually worse. Or at least we think it is. I know, I'm sorry. We did trigger warn you, and we warned you that we were in a kind of a dark place here. This is, practice that viewer discretion that we're always talking about. But yeah. Just, and it's like I can remember every single detail of these curtains. I can remember looking across the room out at the window. And that's more than enough because it's weird because this is the perspective that we're seeing it at. But also because when we dissociate, and we actually asked you guys whether or not you get this on the right side or the left side when you feel like when the depersonalization and the derealization hits and you get that drawing back and watching a movie screen feeling. We always our point of view was always somewhere here over the right shoulder. Apparently there's a lot of folks it's around the left, but for us it's around the right, it's over the right. And I'm not sure what the point was that I had there. Wouldn't blame you guys if you're like, nope, I'm out of here. But it's just we can't get it out. And to be dead honest, we were afraid to go into VR, and because we have a paint program in there. What the hell is it called? So just Google Paint or Open Paint. Something. Anyway, it's free, but you can go into VR and you can paint anything in 3 dimensions and sculpt it. We've actually been working on a recreation of the building that this all took place in for about 3 years now. And it's like, why do we even do this? Is this some form of therapy? is this therapeutic at all? Are we just simply are we just rehashing it? But these damn images keep coming back again and again and again. And it's like the whole damn weekend or series of weekends is nothing but a blur of these memories of these searingly painful, isolated moments of abuse, and then blank spots, and the numb of being drugged, and the disorientation, and the smells, and everything else. And it's not fun, guys. It's not freaking fun. Sorry. We can go to dark places, guys. Sorry, you've never seen this side of us. Hey, Zephyrus or Zephyrus, Zephyrus, I'm thinking, unless it's Zathras, like Bab 5 now. Hello, Chris and Co. Have things been on my rough? It's been rough. Hello, Rainbow Star. Have you mentioned it to a professional? It was horrific because it was manipulative. Yeah, it was a stripping away of innocence. We hear you, innocence being taken away in that way is really one of the worst experiences, truly horrific and heartbreaking. Yeah, and we're not saying this to shock you guys or to garner any kind of sympathy. We're just stating it because this is what happened. This is what does happen. I mean, admittedly, a lot of this shit just happens at home. Happen at home for us as well, but yeah, just this shit is just. You hate it. You just absolutely hate it after it. It's like it rips your life apart. It rips your life apart in ways that you can't possibly predict. You have to unlearn everything that you've learned. Learn how to be happy again, for God's sakes. We're learning how to let our guard down and to just simply be happy. To let that guard down is just damn near impossible. And it's just our entire life. The first 50 years or so, it has been nothing but just, we didn't know what the hell was wrong with us. We knew there was something wrong with us. We knew we were different from other folks, but we had no idea. No idea. But yeah, DID is not fun. It's not fun. And it's not cute and fuzzy. I mean, there are some compensations, very few ones, to having your brain rewired through repeated severe trauma. We are able to perceive things in ways that NTs don't. For example, we're constantly trying to explain to our wife. We'll just suddenly stop and just look at her and just take the scene in, and she'll be like, what are you staring at? And it's like, we try to explain it. We see things in, I mean, as everybody else sees them, obviously, but maybe it's because of the derealization and the depersonalization. We see things like form and shape and color and shadow. It's like there are more depths to a shadow than you would be aware of. And then, of course, there's the actual space between those. And it's just, we are capable of perceiving things of incredible and exquisite beauty because our brains have been rewired. And we don't claim that everybody has the same type of thing with art or sees the world in the same way, but it makes you wonder. It's like with Van Gogh and some of the things. It's like I dig his pain. I understand, or we understand more about what he could be saying. This is so tough to explain. And half the time we feel like we're just meandering, and I mean, which we do, because there's another thing with DID. You can't keep your train of thought any longer than, a few minutes. I mean, you guys, you've watched our live streams, we lose our train of thought, and it's not just being 50. And that's been one of the other frustrating things about getting old, and with this damn I almost said disease, but this damn condition, is that your mental facilities begin to slow down naturally as it is, and that's bad enough. You don't need DID there on top of it, throwing all of that shit your way. So it's been challenging for us to deal with that aspect of it because it is profoundly frustrating, and one of the things that we hate the most is being out of control. We do not like being out of control of ourselves and our faculties. It is terrifying that in and of itself is a trauma reaction. That is a learned trauma response. And there again, everything that you are, everything that is in your life has been touched by the damn trauma. And you get to wondering, is there anything of me other than the trauma? And then you start wondering, well, am I really an alter, or am I the host? Or, we've talked about the host core conundrum before. And it's so damn hard, and it's so tiring, and sometimes it's tough to keep going. And we've explained this. We're not self-harming. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. Yes, we are. We are self-harming. But ours, and that's a big but, it doesn't excuse it, but it is a fact. Ours does not tend to be overt. We do not cut. And most of it relates to the way that our sexual reflex was rewired as a result of the trauma. It was wired to pain and discomfort. We'll let you draw your own conclusions from there, but we don't drink. We've managed to avoid, the addictions that are so common, and of course we absolutely hate alcohol most of the time. The occasional drink, with dinner or whatnot, but our feelings on getting drunk, as he just gave a story about drinking with Australians, but that was when we were 19. So, even then we led a very tame life. Okay, we'll check the chat log here. Let's see here. It's like the brain knows it's safe. Naomi saying, I'm sorry that each and every one of you went through whatever you went through. Thank you, Naomi, but it's okay. We know you don't tell it to gain sympathy, but you have ours nonetheless, and that helps us too. Having sympathy for another who has the same experiences gives us sympathy for ourselves and allows you to be more gentle with yourself. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. Blue Rose. We get what you're saying. It's interesting to note, despite my own past of abuse, I never felt disempowered enough to go into sex work. We didn't. It was forced on us. And it stopped once we hit puberty. This was, well, okay. We're not sure. Well, okay, then no, because that was just straight up abuse, not sex work. And, yeah. No, the pornography when we were Christopher's age. And then there was a gap. There was abuse in amongst the gaps, but the professional work really only occurred twice, maybe 3 times. Well, we don't know. That's just it. This is one of the things that we're untangling, is this weekend might have been more than one event. We're not sure. This is another reason why we need a therapist so that we can deal with this shit. Because that's also, oh yes, this is where we were getting back to the being out of control, because we're just basically operating by guesswork right now, and the tools that we were given by our 2 therapists And they work. Don't get us wrong, but it's only, at least with us, it's only a temporary reprieve, because that it's all still right there. It's coiled in the middle of our chest, and it just doesn't go away. It does not go away. I mean, even Christopher's stuff, that was the first stuff that we processed through, and we didn't process through all of it. We know that there there was more. Oh, there was more there, and that's where we start to wonder just how many early Christophers there were, because there's a bit of a gap from some of our earliest trauma memories to Susie's appearance when we moved from New Jersey to Colorado. We know that this place was in Colorado. We don't know where, and we've looked. But again, this was late 70s, early 80s. Basically, this was squarely between 1981 to 1984 was when this happened, somewhere in there. Because that's when Mimi formed, and we've gotten more than enough corroborative, or data has gotten more than enough corroborative information to know that, yeah, this happened at that point in time. Because it's like, it's done like little tests, like with Mimi. It's like, okay, who's the president? And we're not looking this stuff up. It's just cold off the top of the head. And Mimi's like, Reagan, duh, just little things like that all the time. And it's like, yeah, I suppose that it's possible that these things have gotten stuck in our brain and they're there. I mean, it's like data has this filing system, but it's like we're just constantly surprised by what some of us pull out. I mean, it's like Rosemary, for God's sakes, says she's from Georgia. She speaks in a Georgian accent. We've never been to Georgia in our life. So it's like, where did this come from? Our grandmother was not from Georgia, and Rosemary is basically patterned off of her to fulfill that need that we had, to fill that hole in our life that was left when the only woman that ever really truly loved us unconditionally and properly, the way that a grandmother / mother should, died. That hit us hard. That hit us very hard. It's funny. We were on Instagram the other day, and we saw a post that I forget. We might have even put it onto our feed, where this guy is talking about, or somebody is talking about, how trauma victims are great in extreme situations like that. When there's a death or an accident or something like that, we are absolutely cool as cucumbers and deal with it. But the small things, we fall apart. Like if our wife is missing the keys or something, we get all flustered and freaked out because we don't know how the hell to deal with it. We want to solve that. It's a problem that must be solved before we can move on with whatever it is that we were doing, or move on. There's that immediacy there, and that sense of this has to be fixed, must make X person happy, and coming to realize that that is a trauma response again, and a trauma programming that has been ingrained into us. It's like, okay, so this is why we feel jumpy all the time. This is why when our wife is unhappy, we will feel this sense of guilt, like we've done something wrong, or like we're going to get in trouble. And this is DID. It's peeling back those layers one at a time. And here's it's just a post on Instagram that was like, oh yeah, duh. Why in the hell didn't we think about this? Because it's like, even with our first wife's death, we fell apart later, but when we were dealing with the immediacy of it, we were calm and cool as cucumbers. And we had always wondered about that. It's like, where are my feelings? There's a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever read Dune, but there's a line in Dune, both, I think it's in the David Lynch film, but it's definitely in the book, where he's saying he's just learned or felt that his father Leto has died, and he's like, He tells his mother, and she's just like, "Ah," weeping and carrying on. And he's just in this moment of crystal clear calm, and he's like, where are my feelings? And we get that. We get that. Again, we don't know if we had a point, if we're making any goddamn sense. We're just babbling and tracing over the trauma drawing that we just made. Yay. Which will go to join this stack of other trauma drawings that we have sitting on our shelf that we try real hard not to look at once we've actually gotten them out. Because you see, if we put it on the shelf and it's there, then we don't have to pay attention to it, right? Because we've gotten it out, right? 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 Yeah. Right. So, there you have it. Julie, or us, however you want to put it, me, at all of maybe 12, sitting there, naked on the bed, arms folded, clutching ourselves for comfort because we sure as hell weren't getting any there. You know what? I think we're going to title this one. Innocence lost. Trauma, memory. Flashback. Circa 1981 to 1984. And yeah, we actually annotate that because that helps us, because of it's going to go whoosh later. So you want to try to jot down all those details while you got them. Oh, sorry. So yeah. Not a happy drawing, but at least it's out now-ish, maybe. Maybe she will leave us alone now that we've gotten it out in physical form. God only knows. We'll take the nasty image away now. So yeah, fun artwork with the infinity system. Check the chat here. Let's see here. No, I really don't want to look at this right now. Let's see. Rainbow Star System. Hello. Let's see. Going back. Interesting to note, despite my own past, it's weird how the mind works. Huh? It makes sense to us, yeah. And thanks for sitting in, guys. I know it's been dark and rather boring, I'm sure. But it's like we're probably going to be up for another hour. God only knows. This might be one of these where we just don't get any sleep at all. We've been teaching our daughter to drive, though. Oh, are you serious, Cheddar? Whoops. Hold that thought, guys. This wouldn't happen if you didn't eat rabbits. So yeah, come on, stupid tripod. There we go. Here we are. Look like death warmed over, I'm sure. Get to see a wonderful view of the back of my wife's desk. Let's see here. Hope it gives some respite drawing this out and sharing with us. Thank you guys for listening back. I really wish that you could make the text on these things bigger. It would be so nice. Because I have to squint, and that's just like, yeah. Hi, you magical being. Not feeling terribly magical at the moment, but thank you. It's just brutal because it builds and it builds and it's like and we get caught in this loop where we know what's happening. We know what's coming now. We're far enough along to recognize the signs and to take steps and use our tools, but it's one of these where it's like, oh God, I don't want to go into crisis. We don't want to go into crisis, but at the same token, you don't want to bother your family, or your loved ones with it. You feel like a burden or an imposition, but you have to fight that instinct. But our wife came into the bedroom the other day. I think it was last week. What is time? Forgive us, we didn't put our teeth in, so if we look buck teeth, that's why. Not that we're particularly vain, you guys know that. But anyway, she came in and she gave us a hug, and we don't know what it is, and we don't know if you guys experience this, but it's like whenever just physical contact with her is enough to break us. It's just a soft hug, or even sometimes just her hand on our shoulder is enough to just cause what little control we have to snap, and the EPs rush right to the front and take over, and the next thing you know, we're a sobbing mess, and that's what. And I mean, she'll just hold us when we cry, and we'll try to tell her, because it's like she says, I can help with the after effects, I can help you with the effects of this, but I can't deal with the trauma. And we're like, yeah, we know, we know this shit's dark, and it's like she's not a trauma therapist. This is what we need a therapist for. So hopefully, this change back to where we started from will yield some more results for us. But we just we hung on to her, and we just sobbed, and we will sob until we'll try to tell her, but then immediately I don't think you guys have ever seen us like this, but when we get overwhelmed like that, we start to stutter, and it comes from John. We know where it comes from now, because as you heard, he stuttered. If you've listened to the what would you do for a Klondike bar video. So when we get overwrought, we will stutter, and we were just holding on to her, and just we get absolutely racked with sobs. It's just we cry so hard, and the outpouring, once the dam breaks, the outpouring is so intense that we literally she has to tell us to breathe, because we will stop breathing. It's not that we're like deliberately holding our breath. It's just something that we do. For all that might be a trauma response too. Probably is. Fun in the bathtub, not. Anyway. But it's like, for whatever reason, her touch just triggers that emotional release, no matter how we try to hold ourselves together. And she's like, afterwards, she's like, do you feel a little better now? Did I help? I was like, yeah, it helped a little, but we're probably going to need another good cry before long. It's just because it's just John's, oh God, John's trauma is bad enough, but Julie's, it's like, just when we think that we're done with that weekend, that we've delved to the bottom of what our brain is willing to show us, and what John is willing to show us. lost the train of thought. Okay, comments. Hey, TMJD. Insomnia live stream finally when I can join. Yeah. Hey, Infinity. Hope things get better for you soon. Wishing you all the best. Thank you, Alpha Show. I'm gonna bring this up. Yes, even down to I went to the hairdressers and having someone wash my hair and set me off crying hard. It was real short after BPD spiral. Yeah. Hello, Rainbow Star. Although we'll always think of you as Malda. Heart was for that 420 witch, but for some reason the heart works. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Rainbow System. We stopped breathing too. Definitely a trauma response here. Zephyrus, Chris, I'm proud of you for acknowledging your emotions and creatively expressing your truth through art. Be gentle to yourselves. Thank you. Be gentle to it. Yeah, that's something that we have a problem doing. And again, that's trauma response because of egg donors' narcissism. And the abuse. It's just, it was so bad, and we didn't even know. We did not know until our therapist opened this, until we got our diagnosis and our therapist opened this box of hell. That is our life, or, and just, but even so, even for all of the negatives that it's brought and the trauma and the flashbacks and everything else, which of course we were having anyway, we just didn't know what the hell they were. It's it's one of these where at least now there's an answer. In one of the early journal videos, we talk about how we went in, expecting autism, to be diagnosed with that, and that would be enough. There would be an answer. We would know what is wrong with us. Why we were so different, and we never expected DID. Never in a million years had it even crossed our mind that might be what was going on with us. It just, but it's one of these where we need a therapist. We need a trauma therapist, and it's going to be hard to find. And we've already wasted 2 years with this place that we've been with now that we left in order to follow our therapist, only to have a insurance. Just a big brouhaha. Speaking of, hi Taylor. Our secret code. But it turned our world upside down, and it still continues to do so. And it's been a long haul. I mean, we're going on 4 years now, I think. Time. But yeah. Let's see here. Stop breathing too. Definitely trauma response. And thank you, Zephyrus. If we didn't thank you already. Job has been done. There's a chuckle. Yeah, that was a cruel chuckle. The one thing that happens when you've been through so much is the sharp sense of humor and empathy. Yes, we have heard of the CTAD clinic. In fact, that is one of the channels that we watch regularly and we recommend to our viewers. Dr. Lloyd is Mike Lloyd is he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. He's and the ducks are nice too. We've always liked ducks anyway, so always been very close to animals, which just makes art. Yeah, we're not going to go there. Anyway, excuse us as we dribble. So, ask questions. What do you want to know for the next? God, it's now what? 3. Yeah. The phone lines are open. You're listening to Up All Night with the Infinity System. I'm Chris, and I'll be your host for the next God only knows how long as I ramble on, lose my train of thought, and generally dispense what might be hard-earned wisdom, but might also equally be bullshit. It'll be up to you to decide. Let's take our first caller. Set up outings to the farm. What is an outing to the farm? We are not familiar with that. You mean like a real farm with animals and stuff? I mean, we've been to petting zoos at the local Ren Fair and stuff, but unless that's a euphemism for something else. Gotta go for the night, but I hope you all feel better and get some sleep soon. Sending virtual hugs if you want them. Yes, thank you, Elfin Shell. We will always take virtual hugs and right back at you. Go get some sleep or whatever. We're probably going to try here soon, but oh goodness, getting flashbacks to doing online radio years ago. A farm with animals just to visit. Unfortunately, it's a virus where we live. This ain't exactly farming country. Horses, yes, but the people who ride said horses tend to be ones that are a little extreme in their viewpoints. Let's put it that way. We do try to push ourselves to get out. Let's put it that way, because it's not safe out there, says all of the trauma. And believe it or not, this is something that we have made progress on. Is when we were first diagnosed. It's like you guys can see it in the voices in my head. A day with DID. That anxiety and whatnot. Just even stepping outside the door was something that was a hard-won battle for us, and it is something that we've gotten a lot better at. And we have made progress on them. Of course, that might also be due to the medications and the propranolol, which is our anti-anxiety that we can take as needed to help deal with those type of situations. We have a little portable travel grounding box / kit that we use. Excuse me. We're starting to flag here. Yeah, lost our train of thought. Sorry, guys. We're not in our best of form tonight. Let's see here. Goodness, getting flashbacks to doing it. Thank you, Rainbow Star. Yeah, we actually also used to do an internet radio show way back when for a very niche audience, which was on a server of EverQuest 2 back in the day. If you heard of the app called Headspace, it's good for relaxation, sleep, and anxiety meditations. Yeah, we have heard of it. But here's the thing, 420. We grew up during the whole New Age meditation, transcendental meditation, astral projection, learn your chakras, and circular breathing, and seizing your personal power, and embracing your inner Christ child, and this and that and the other freaking thing. There isn't a religion really that we haven't at least learned about, or at least we've managed to hit all the major ones. Although we will say, Data found it very interesting. We went to a Buddhist temple once. Nichiren, we're gonna butcher this. Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism, we think. But anyway, we're there and they were doing the Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. It's a chant, but I'll tell you what, you get about 50 people in a room chanting that, and the acoustics do some really wild things. I mean, they talk about, vibrational level and everything, but that, for sure. And there is scientific, no data, you may not go on a tear. There is scientific, proof of vibrations affecting us and everything. But yeah, we grew up through that. So the whole meditation, there isn't anything really that we haven't tried. From meditation to sensory deprivation to nootropics to melatonin to you name it, we've tried it at one point or another in order to get any sleep, and just diphenhydramine, which is the sleeping pills, OTC sleeping pills like Nitol or something like that. It's called diphenhydramine, and those will work for us. They don't help us really fall asleep, but they'll keep us asleep, much like a medication that our current nurse practitioner has us on, because she's still convinced that you can medicate DID away, and you can't. Anyway, yeah. This is why you need to be proactive in your care with your care team, because otherwise you will fall through the cracks, or you will slip through them, or something will happen if you're anything like us. And again, lost the train of thought. Oh, yes. So, yeah, thank you for the Headspace recommendation, but unfortunately, and yes, we actually have tried it on Netflix. What was it? The Headspace Guide to Meditation and the Headspace Guide to Sleep. It's one of these where it's like, oh yeah, we recognize that. It doesn't really work so much because this never shuts off, ever, ever. It is never quiet in here. Okay, rarely. There have been like maybe 3 occasions in our lifetime when it's been completely silent. And oh my God, UNTs, you have no idea how much that is desired. You will have no idea how valuable silence is, internal silence. It's like, oh God, if only. But we're all stuck together. Literally. Let's see. Anyway. Let's see. Farm animals. Have you heard of the outlook? Okay, yeah, I got you. Ours was for an MMO called "And I Remember Anarchy Online." I remember Anarchy Online. Yes, I do. Oxymoron, hello. You're late to the party. Glad I'm here to miss something important. Just us being down, basically. We've had a piece. Julie is pushing trauma memories at us, and we needed to get an image out of our head. So yeah, just backtrack the stream if you want to see a terrible drawing and creation. Oh, let's see here. Oh man, the young wellness ladies are about the 80s times. Yeah, it was quite a time though, honestly. There was a certain optimism to the whole New Age movement that was very appealing. Part of the 80s for sure. Very curious time to grow up in. I'm fortunate. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Let's see here. Trauma is a complex problem that needs a complex, holistic solution. Yes. 420, I get what you're saying about the large group chanting. Native American traditional flute and drum music with their chanting does weird things to me. I feel light and warm and feel the vibrations. Yeah, they'll go right through you. It was a remarkable experience, honestly. But yeah, we explored the various religions because our data was driven by one burning question. Is this all that there is? Is there nothing more? That was the question. Is this all? Isn't there anything else? And those two questions took us to some interesting places. Singleton Mind Cosplay, we call it Singleton Mind Cosplay. I like that. Not that well, we were triggered badly 2 days ago, still fighting with our response. Hi, Oxy, welcome to the club. How are you all? Naomi, I'm sorry, I know this is completely dumb, but thinking about the people who made you endure what you endure, the people who are supposed to protect you, it just makes you mad. To be continued. Okay, Naomi, we'll wait for you. Sorry to hear that, Oxymoron. Yeah, Oxy, hopefully. We're sorry to hear that, kind of the same here. We're glad that you came here and we can be here with you so you don't have to be alone. Yeah, that was it, basically. It's one of these where you just know that you're not going to get any fucking sleep. Oh, sorry. Excuse our French. So it's like you just kind of give up. Actually, we are starting to really flag here. I can feel it starting to creep in. We might just actually get a fewsies. Oh, let's see. Okay, Naomi, here's part two. I'm definitely not the violent person. For God's sakes, I would do anything in my power to avoid conflict, but then I'd think about them would make me want to hurt them to the point when it would get me to jail. Thank you. What that shows is that you're a human being with a heart. And because it goes on. Let's not fool ourselves. It goes on every day. It's going on right now. Somewhere in the world, a child is being abused. Or, a young person is being abused. Someone. And there's not a lot that we can do about it. Uh, except raise awareness, talk about it openly like we're talking about here so that people can see the signs and just for the trauma victims like us who are stuck in hell and have been told that they're alone and we're not alone. um, Anyone, it's not a club that anybody would want to join, but if you've been through this kind of crap, if you are a survivor, then you've earned your club patch. That's for sure. Nobody can take that away from you. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the anger is actually a healthy emotion, and anger is an action emotion. We're taught to suppress it, uh, both by society and by our abusers, obviously. Chocho, what are you doing? I'm going to ignore the cat crawling into the cabinet at the moment. So we're taught that this is a negative thing, particularly those of us who have been traumatized, who have been abused, because our abusers don't want us fighting back. That's a bad thing, right? Um, so we get into this mindset that anger is bad. We deny ourselves those emotions, and instead of expressing them in a healthy manner and taking it, well, not taking it out, but expressing them in a manner towards the people who we are rightfully angry at, they turn inward onto ourselves, which is where a lot of the where a lot of the conflict and the self-loathing and just a lot of the negative behaviors, which can cascade into the self-harm behaviors and whatnot. Um, that's we have that same cascade. We were just talking about it. Otherwise, we have our self-harming behaviors, and they're not anything that would. Well, I don't know. See, this is one of the reasons that we are uh, switching our clinics back to one that's closer because there have been times when we're teetering on that edge. And some of the patterns of behavior, in order to let off the pressure and deal with the kind of thing that, like the artwork, that particular image, that thing, sometimes it's Jack is there to let off the steam. The trouble is that when he's letting off the steam, it's self-harming, and we have bled. And so when we start to do those self-harming and sometimes dangerous behaviors, we know, okay, it's time for a reality check. And so we need therapy. Even if it's shit therapy at this point, we need a therapist. We need somebody that we can unload this onto. And if it comes to it and it's necessary, we may have to go inpatient for a brief bit. Although that would probably shatter us completely. Dear God, that frightens the fuck out of us. But if it comes down to that, or spinning out and going into crisis the way that we did a couple of years ago, and you know, we haven't went into that. We've alluded to it lots of times, but let's just say that communication is key to stopping shit from blowing up. Communication all around. Yeah, there were a lot of mistakes made that day. Anyway, let's go to the chat. Let's see here. But thank you, Naomi. Shit, boy, we must have gotten off on a sidetrack. It's true about all systems. Hey, Chris, I'm going to bounce and get to work. Wish you well. Thank you, Zephyrus, for coming on in. We appreciate your attempt to, put a smile on the face. You got to laugh. Good for you. Thank you from us too, Naomi. Anger is a difficult emotion for us, but it means a lot that others can hold anger to abusers for us. Yes, thank you. Yes, opposite to proper belief. Self-harm isn't a research of attention. That's why I hate people getting all hippy-dippy on me and saying that I have to let go of anger and forgive. It's like, screw that. I have a right to my anger. Yes, absolutely, TMJ. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We all do. If we've been through that, yeah, we have a right to our anger and we have a right to hold a fucking grudge if we want to. I mean, to be dead honest, here's a moral question for you. And we posted this way early on. I don't even think we had 100 followers in our Instagram. Not that it really matters. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. We kind of do hope that as we grow larger, we'll be able to like do some fundraisers for uh, DID based organizations out there. So, I mean, obviously, this is like way in the future if we ever get that big. But we would like to start, branching out, as it were. I don't know if we're making much sense. But yeah, just kind of things on, if it happens. I mean, I know you guys are saying that we do make an impact and we make a difference on the channel here, and we appreciate that. But you just kind of want to do something tangible. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Anyway, it's just this is where the thought train goes when we start to think about all the kids who are currently at this moment being abused. It's there's just got to be some kind of a solution in some way that we can reach out or help or something. We'd like to be able to use our limited power of platform in order to do some good in the world, if that makes any sense. Anyway, down the line, we're podunk now, but if we ever hit that point, yes. But we do what we can. That's what the channel is. God, we're just rambling all over the place. Let's see here. But yeah, TMG, absolutely, you've got a right to your anger. Okay, Naomi, Chris, I so understand you without being without a therapist when you know you need one. Yes. Oxy, impatient scares us too. Never went well, but some therapy is better than no therapy sometimes, even if it's not good. We get that. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's like. We're going to weed through their therapist quick, but we've got to have something, even just the most basic at this point. It's like, are you familiar with trauma therapy? No? Yeah, anyway. A little bit of the dark side creeping out there. But yeah, that's exactly where we're at, Oxy, where we're at right now, Oxy. Uh, but we've never been inpatient, either non-voluntary or voluntary. But we do keep it on the horizon because we will not allow another incident like the one that we allude to happen again. Let's see here. Therapist just trying to get me to work on how critical I am of myself and why I always put myself down. Oh, that's a tough battle. The depression, putting yourself down. We have a therapist now, but he's a male and we don't trust him. Or Emily enough to really work with him. Yeah, tough battle to fight there. As me, so sorry you are loved, you are valid. Thank you. Naomi Mensa, for what it's worth, even if I'm certainly not a professional, I'm always on Instagram or Discord. If you ever need to talk, vent, be on a quiet call or on a call to listen to. Remember that each and every one of you is valid, strong, enough, appreciated, loved, wanted, unique, amazing, and deserve kindness, respect, and compassion. Love to y'all. Thank you, Naomi. We greatly appreciate it. We do. We don't reach out easily. Let's see. TMJ did inpatient once. I was terrified going in about what isn't that bad. I was only in for a week though for insurance. Yeah, I still can't get over long term 20 sessions. Like what the heck I've already had 4. Yeah, that's gonna be rough. I think we're gonna go ahead and close it out, guys. Vision is starting to go grayish, and if we don't grab the sleep feeling now, it'll fly away. So thank you for sitting in with us on the stream and just listening to us in one of our down times. We don't do this a lot, so we do appreciate you guys being there for us. It's thank you. And yeah, hopefully next time maybe we'll do another one of these for you folks in Australia and whatnot. Night, Chris. Hope you can catch Fusies. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, guys. So we'll go ahead and sign it off. So remember, and we'll remember too, you're loved, you're strong, and you're not alone. Even us. Okay, thanks, guys. Signing off.